Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining another Lead Squared webinar. I'm Vaishnavi Shetty, and I work in the marketing department of Lead Squared. Today's topic of discussion is Turn Chats into Enrollments, WhatsApp Strategies for Education. There are thousands of educational institutions vying for the same students, and the traditional outreach methods just don't cut it. In fact, the average form abandonment rate in higher education is the staggering 84%. Now, you might be thinking, is there a better way? And yes, there is. In today's webinar, we have with us Karthik Jagannathan, who is a CEO of Galabox, a conversation commerce platform on WhatsApp focused on helping organizations like education institutions and edtechs turn visitors into enrollments. Karthik, thank you so much for joining us today. We also have with us Srinivas Shinde, who is a VP of Education of the Education Vertical at Lead Squared. He is a seasoned higher education expert with more than 30 years of experience in the education space. Thank you so much, Srinivas, for your time today. So they will be diving into strategies and best practices to set up and scale your student engagement engine. You will learn how you can reach out to the students at the right time, at the right place, with the right messaging that gets you those enrollments. Now, before we begin, I would like to bring your attention to the bottom right of your screen. We have a chat tab and a question tab there. We would love to hear your thoughts and questions, so do not hesitate to put them on there as we'll take them up at the end of the session. We'll also have some polls up, so please do engage and we would love to know more about you. So without further ado, let's begin. Karthik and Srinivas, over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. That was a wonderful prelude to the event, and we are so excited to be here, Srinivas and I, talking about something that is very close to our heart, both education and how well we can effectively help educational institutions, right? Because, like Vaishnavi said, there are, on one side it's like a marketplace, right? So there are one side there are students, and the other side there are institutions for the students to find the right match. And I'm sure Srinivas and his team are doing a great job in helping this matchmaking happen effectively. And with WhatsApp, with at Galabox, we are helping Lead Squared, and therefore, the matchmaking to get slightly even better. Right. So I think that's it's a great way in which I see this. I'm super excited about some of the prospects and some of the ways in which we see educational institutions working with us, right? How well it complements a CRM like Lead Square. So actually, I have a question for Srinivas before anybody else has a question, right? So interestingly, Srinivas, you've been on both sides of the table, right? I mean, you've been an educator, you've been an administrator, right? And as well as now you're on the other side of the table, and you are helping the people like yourself from a previous era, succeed in being able to improve their enrollments and admissions and engage student engagement and so on. But actually, what has happened is in the last, I'd say about maybe 3-4 years now, especially around the pandemic, a lot of things have changed, right? Meaning the world is pre-COVID, post-COVID. And so in this transitionary phase, how do you see, what is your perspective really of what has really changed? What is changing? Where do you see this really ending in the next maybe 1 or 2 years, especially with respect to student engagement, admission, enrollments, right? And the use of technology in all of this.
Got it. Thanks for that wonderful question, Karthik. Yes, 30 years in the higher education space, focusing on, at the end of the day, for any institution, what matters is the admissions.
Right.
How effectively admission. If the admission season is good,
yeah,
everything goes very nice. There's a smiling face on you have a smiling face throughout. The moment admissions are up and down, if it is down, then there is a major trouble today happening in those institutions. Appraisals are a big question mark. Facilities are a big question mark. Entire year there are tantrums being given by the management. So many things happening. But let me just give you a small background about how it was prior to COVID, during COVID, and now, of course, post-COVID. Everybody post-COVID, or in fact during COVID, understood the importance of the term lead. Lead has become very, very important nowadays. People are able to do anything for leads. It was not the case earlier. A good institution never worried about leads. An average institution used to struggle, but they used to do something for leads. And a bad institution never knew how a lead came, so they used to do a lot of here and there activities, shortcut activities to get it. But during COVID, everybody learned in a very hard way. Some were able to adopt it faster. Some who didn't understand saw what's happening in the market and then tried to adopt it. They had to pay heavy for it. But now, what is it post COVID? Post COVID, it is hybrid. Earlier, we used to get a lot of walk ins. Nowadays, walk ins have turned into a digital walk in. It means the moment he does something onto your website and comes in, he's the lead. It's like a walk in.
Right.
Earlier, they used to come, sit, fill up forms.
Correct.
And the counselor used to get. Now, all of that is getting eradicated. People do come only to check the institution what they are about to enroll. All the counseling, everything happens in a digital way, which means hybrid is going to be, it's actually going to continue. Now, in hybrid, there has been versions. Earlier, it used to be SMS. Then it came into SMS and emails. Now it is SMS is becoming redundant. It's only for certain things that you require. Email, yes, but then you always have a doubt whether the fellow has opened the email or not. But most important, what is happening now is the WhatsApp. In the way today you see how WhatsApp has changed the way we network. Here also WhatsApp has become very, very important because it's on a click. You are able to engage, and engagement is basically what is today required when a lead comes in. Now a lead may come in and sit into the system. If you're not going to engage it in the first 20 minutes, it goes away. It is somebody else's lead, which means institutions are now actually gearing to make sure that there is instant communication, which we call it as sooner the better. Otherwise, it slips. Second thing that I see that is, this is a message to all the institutions, if in case we have good amount of institutions who are participating in this webinar. If you heard of this word, of this particular word called digital transformation. Digital transformation cannot happen only in your academics. Digital transformation has to happen in your front office, in your admissions office. Complete admissions office has to be digital. Why we have to be digital? Because your leads are coming to you in that fashion. They start it, they go to the website, they inquire, and then everything is done through digital mode. So if you have an effective system which allows all the modes of digital to take place. Second, the education to all the people who are going to be in the admissions office.
Right.
It's not just the IT manager. IT manager is doing his job of getting systems. But today, look at your front office, look at your admissions executive, look at your counselors, look at your program managers. Your counselors are the key, they are the ambassadors.
Right.
They have to be 100% trained, not even 90%.
Right.
100% trained today on the entire digital transformation that you are bringing to your. It's like, having a mobile, a very costly mobile, and having so many features and not knowing, what to do with it. Or you are not aware of what features are there.
Correct.
So unless you explore it completely, you won't be able to use it. Same thing today, the digital transformation is the key today for any institution to make sure that you are able to meet the requirement of this buzzword, sooner the better.
Right. Absolutely.
Digital transformation, and then of course, tools are going to keep coming. As I said, it was earlier, SMS, then email become very, very important. Now WhatsApp is becoming the only channel, faster, immediate.
Yes.
In fact, in WhatsApp also there are hundreds of things which we will talk during this activity.
Correct.
So this is what I wanted to give as
absolutely. I think it's it is. I must say it is music to our ears. Because we have seen in our own journey and in my own career, both as a sales and marketing professional, I have seen how the, like you said, digital transformation has happened for small businesses, medium businesses, and large businesses, and specifically with respect to education, right? Because I've seen even in the last decade or so, educational institutions have been among the first ones to embrace technology, right? Whether it is CRM or whether it is any kind of engagement related technology and tools. So I think you are absolutely correct. We are seeing that in our own journey as well, right? As we work with around customers with around 40 different countries in the world, and we see that education is our number one category, right? And the use cases are so secularly similar. Whether it is a school or an institution in Dubai or in Kuwait or in Johannesburg in South Africa, or it could be somewhere in Brazil, or of course any part of India, the use cases are secularly uniform, right? What they do and how they go about acquiring customers at the mouth of the funnel, engaging with them at the middle of the funnel, and trying to convert them at the bottom of the funnel, and then moving them downwards for upgrades and so on, right? And then the cycle continues, right? And of course,
Absolutely.
WhatsApp has proven to be a great tool, right? Because it offers a whole bunch of features and functionalities in terms of being able to automate conversations, being able to offer collaboration capabilities, right?
Correct.
Like even transaction, with payments, and if you have any admission fee to be paid and so on, all of that can be done through WhatsApp. Yeah,
No, absolutely. I in fact totally agree to this. WhatsApp is another way by which you can complete the entire lead to application to admission journey.
correct.
How it is to be done, probably during this info session, we
Yeah.
will definitely
I
share this.
also want to take a word from what you said, right? Which is something you said, lead. A lead is, I think it can rhyme with gold. Okay, so a lead is like gold, right? But then it is raw gold, right? For it to become jewelry, you need to have tools and technology, right? Otherwise, it's just raw gold. You can't wear raw gold on your head, right? So
Unless you polish it, unless you
unless
make
you
something
polish
good
it,
out of
unless
it,
you
you
make
won't
it
be
into
able.
a jewelry. So we at Galabox and using WhatsApp really have been thinking of only one thing, which is how can we convert a lead to a deal, right? A lead is LEAD, but a deal is DAL, right? So all of our efforts, using WhatsApp and with complementing that with Lead Squared and being able to use all the capabilities of automation, we constantly are at work trying to understand and help our customers convert a lead to a deal, right? So I want to take maybe a few slides, Srinivas. Maybe
Yeah, before that,
yeah,
I thought let
sure.
me also put in a question that has come to my mind.
Oh, please. Happy to take that.
So
Yeah,
here it is. How have you seen WhatsApp communication play a role in the current scenario?
sure. I think it's a very, very deep question, deep and wide, because what we are seeing is uh, the emergence of WhatsApp really has happened a few years ago. I mean, like all great technologies, right? We first use it for our convenience, right? It's just think of it as even email, or think of it as in any of the internet technology, digital technologies that we've been using today. We are all used to. We use it first for our personal purposes, right? And once we know that we can't live without it, then we realize that it can also be used for business purposes, right? So I think what has WhatsApp done in the past few years is it has made it so easy, right? If you look at the way WhatsApp started, it became so easy to create groups, share media, right? And get on a one-on-one conversation with people, one-to-many conversation. So what you've realized is that over a period of time, if you look at the other analog systems and tools that existed like SMS, email, call center, have become very, very inefficient, right? Leading to a lot of leakages, wastages, right? And in effect, really leading to a lot of problems for the customer, right? Meaning the customer experiences is very bad. There's a very high cost of sales and support for the business. The conversions are poor. So the matchmaking was never very successful, right? So we are seeing, over the last from the time we've been working with WhatsApp now, we are seeing a sea change, right? And I'll tell you how marketers used to be. I know I used to be a marketer in my previous roles.
Oh, okay.
Entire intention for a marketer is to get a mobile number. Somehow, by hook or by crook, either way, either you run an ad, you run whatever you do, somehow get a mobile number, and it should be a verified mobile number, right? From there, what has happened is, and I think I have a slightly different way of putting it. when you reach a consumer in the earlier era trying to ask for a mobile number, the cognitive load, Srinivas, is on the part of the consumer.
Consumer.
He has
Yes.
to understand, why am I giving this number? What if they call me? What if I can't take the call? What if they disturb me? Right? What if this becomes spam? Should I be careful about giving my number and so on? Right? That was the earlier era. Now what has happened is that I can safely give him a number, because I know, if you call, I can reject my call. If you if you text me, I can text you back whenever I want in a very asynchronous fashion, right? And the entire control is now in the hands of the user. Earlier the control was in the hands of the marketer, right? So of course that puts enormous pressure on the part of the marketer to ensure that we don't spam our users. But really, I mean, if you look at in good faith, marketing is not spam. Marketing is, again, going back, is trying to find the right match for the right consumer, right? So that is how we see there was an internet. Now there is something called the conversation internet, right? So within the conversation internet, WhatsApp is playing a very important role, and we are seeing how consumers are so comfortable, right? Being sharing their information on WhatsApp, right? So
Correct.
this is one part. The other part I would say is, if you closer really to educational institutions, right? I mean, we're seeing, really hard metrics. We can talk about how WhatsApp is a very ubiquitous channel. 2.5 billion people are using it around the world, and so on and so forth. But really, what matters most when the rubber hits the road is for an education institution, right, or anybody in the space. There are very distinct advantages, Srinivas, right? One is, we see open rates of something like 98, 99%, right? We see far levels of personalization that is possible, right? Which is something like, I know your name, I know your number, I don't need to do OTP verification. That is already established. And based on some things that you tell me, immediately I know what you're looking for. I can personalize the conversation, right? Uh, and there's a very high level of two-way engagement and collaboration possible. And finally, it's a lot of we see a ROI, really effective ROI coming, especially when it complements along with the CRM, right?
I agree. Look, ROI becomes very, very important here.
Yeah.
Every lead today that comes in, the faster they come into an application and the faster it moves from an application to an admission, that's where typically the ROI is what an institution may look out for. So, very, very rightly said.
Yeah.
And it's even a cost effective is what I see on your
Totally.
slide
Absolutely.
in terms of conversation pricing model. I think
Yes.
it has been very competitive today.
Yeah. So in fact, the one way of looking at it is that most consumers are no more opening their SMS things, which means SMS is really ruled out, like you said, right? We use SMS only for OTP. Otherwise, we don't use our SMS. And email, is impossible to be able to go and find an email that you're looking for in your inbox. Call center is on one side expensive. For the consumer, it is a big bother, right? I mean, nobody wants to talk. Unfortunately, everybody has a phone, but nobody wants to talk. So they all want to text. So texting is become the new most favorite form of conversation, whether it's young people or even parents for that matter, because they just want to be able to text at their convenience. So we are seeing an absolute tectonic shift to messaging as a way of dominant conversation, and within which WhatsApp is becoming really the only conversation platform that we all can rely on today.
Agreed. In fact, this takes me to the second question that I have for you.
Sure.
I know WhatsApp is becoming very, very important. Many of the institutions today who are average in terms of the information that is being used on how effectively to use WhatsApp. Many people came to me and said, is there a strategy by which I can look at retargeting or look at, my raw database to be nurtured? I said, wow, wonderful. You have a raw database and you want to nurture it. One way is, people traditionally used to use SMS. Now that's gone.
Yeah.
So is there a way? Said, yes, WhatsApp can be used. Then earlier it was one-sided WhatsApp. Now it is two-sided WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My question to you is, personalized student communication is becoming increasingly important.
Mm-hmm.
How can institutions leverage technology to ensure students receive individual attention or they feel valued?
Excellent question, really, because what has happened is that WhatsApp has become now bigger than the combination of the web and a mobile app. Okay, think about it this way, right? If you take any average phone, there is only so much real estate that's available on the phone. There's only so many apps that we can download. Any new app that wants to come and sit inside the phone, it has to replace some other app, right? So marketers have decided, after spending millions of dollars, crores of rupees, that it's impossible to get another app downloaded on people's phones, right? Now there is a web, on the other hand, where you go look for things, you go look for information and so on. But actually what WhatsApp has done is it's actually becoming the bridge between all of these, right? So if you look at if you look at WhatsApp, and if I have a base that I want to run campaigns, let's say I have run some campaigns, I have received about 1 lakh numbers or 50,000 numbers that I have, and I don't know much about that base. It is just sitting there, and I want to run some campaign. There's something called broadcast, right, where you can create campaigns of cohorts of customers. We can say, this particular cohort of customers, I want to target one particular message, or this particular cohort of customers came from one particular sub campaign. Let's say I ran some campaign in Facebook, I want to run a specific campaign for them, like a broadcast campaign. Now, as you can see, it's a 98% open rate, right? Because it is, if you look at your phone and if you see the battery time used or the network used, you'll realize that WhatsApp is number one after everything else is after that. Okay, so there is no option. People have to open WhatsApp, and we're seeing that the open rates have been specifically upwards of 95-98%, right? So you can run a targeted campaign, right? You can, based on a cohort, like n is equal to a few, you can run a targeted campaign. Secondly, based on the response that you get, right, you can do, instead of assigning an agent for every conversation that comes in, Srinivas, the bot can do much of the work. I mean, there is a set of mundane questions that you would ask, right? Things like, what course are you looking for? What is the intake you're looking for? Or do you have a budget in mind, right? And therefore, do you want hostel facility? Maybe there are some 5 or 6 questions, right? What do you want to study? Where do you want to study? Now, we've realized from some of our own existing customers that one of the biggest problems that we've seen is finding the right counselor for the right student, right? So there are 180 counselors in one of our customer entity. 180 counselors. You cannot give any student to that particular counselor, right? So which means you have to do the matchmaking there also. So what the bot does is it validates, verifies, right, and tends to ask a set of questions that typically an agent would have had to ask. Therefore, now you don't need to put an agent to ask those questions. Those questions are already asked. And once that is done and the verification is done, then it can move to the right person, right? It can move to the right team. And then what you can also, we also have something called WhatsApp flows, right? I mean, we can talk about that slightly more in detail. The other thing that we see our businesses use, and our education institutions use very well, is something called drip marketing. Think about this way, right? So let's say we've got a prospect, right? And we've done a campaign to that prospect, or we've done the campaign and then the prospect has been created. Now the prospect is sitting in a particular part of the funnel. Neither the prospect is moving, nor do we know when should we touch that prospect, right? So that is where something called drip marketing is being very effectively used, where you can create a calendar. It could be by the hour, it could be by the day of the week, or it could be anywhere you want. And you can create a calendar of conversation. You can start targeting them based on that, and it will be behind till they come to the next milestone, right? Correct. So as you can see, there's a two-way communication. There is a collaboration. In fact, the shared team inbox is a way in which multiple agents, if they have to have a conversation, they have access to the customer information as soon as it comes in, the lead as soon as it comes in. You can run automation, right? And you can do drip marketing, and there are other different interesting ways in which you can acquire customers, engage with customers, and then move them down the funnel to a proposal or to admission. Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally agree to this.
Yeah.
In fact, as you rightly said, in terms of a bot, maybe a WhatsApp bot that is being included. Look at the time when there is a Saturday, Sunday, there is a holiday, and there is somebody who's trying to inquire.
Correct.
Now, this becomes very, very crucial because Saturday post 6 p.m. counselors are not available.
Correct.
Sunday, it's a holiday.
Yeah.
Somebody logs into the system, has a quick query. He tries to call up, nobody's lifting the phone. What is he going to do?
Yeah.
Now, in such cases, the WhatsApp bot becomes highly lucrative.
Right.
And this WhatsApp bot is something which the Q&A has to keep progressing as the institute progresses. You cannot have all the questions put on the day one. You can have some fundamental questions put in, then see what kind of questions are coming in from the leads, and then try and update those systems. Because in the absence of a counselor, in the absence of the institution having a holiday, your WhatsApp bots can do wonders. It can give all the preliminary information to the inquiry who's currently chatting.
Yeah.
And then also end the conversation saying, as the office hours are closed for the day, we will be available to you on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and these are the numbers you can call us.
Absolutely.
That's
Srinivas,
how to-
the WhatsApp bot works Saat din, Raat din.
Not the drug. But
Right.
very, very effective when the institution is having a holiday.
Yeah.
It becomes highly effective.
Correct. Absolutely. So actually, what is interesting is that we are seeing a lot of educational institutions complementing WhatsApp engagement
Correct.
CRM, right?
Correct.
Because what happens is, you can use WhatsApp as a great conversation pipe, as a great two-way conversation, collaboration, right?
Yes.
Engagement and so on. But then there's very little use of all of this if the right information is not sitting in the right place for the right person to access it, right?
Correct.
So my question, in fact, that's something that I also want to talk to you about, is what is your view as a senior, educator and in this space, right? How do you see the role of a CRM for a kind of augmenting this two-way conversation that we are talking about? Yeah.
Great. In fact, CRM, first of all, is an intelligent tool. Now, many times people come and tell me when I go to institutions and say, how you guys are digitally, sound. They say we have an ERP in place. I said, wow. Now, an ERP cannot do what a CRM can do. An ERP is basically an operational tool.
Right.
It will help you to operate very nicely. It will help you to keep updates very nicely. But there's a lot of front-end activities that take place. A lot of front-end activities that take place. And the intelligence comes, for example, you need to have click-to-call facilities. You talked about drip marketing facilities. Click-to-call intelligence in that. There's an AI component today in that. You look at all of these components in terms of when and what to schedule your lead score activities. Now, this goes to the depth. The CRM role is over when you push a student to admit it. Thereafter, the ERP takes it over. Then you have your attendance, this, that, everything done in the ERP. Many people confuse that with the CRM. CRM, highly intelligent. Now, I can have activities done through my desktop. I can have activities done through my mobile if I'm a counselor. If I'm a highly effective institution, I may give iPads to all my counselors. Everything is digital in my, so there's no paper today. So anybody walks in, even you have a quick lead facility available. So even that is today done on iPad where the counselors fill it up. Now, if you look at the enhancement of activities, where do I use a CRM? I use my CRM one to make sure that I have an increment today in my conversions. How can an increment happen? Today, if you look at human being tendency, it is very difficult for them to keep updates. Which inquiry is going to come when, which inquiry told you to call up at what time, what kind of information, different courses, what course, what information is a particular thing looking out for. So, in the CRM, I can have all of this stored and I can decide at what point of time, what communication that has to be sent to which inquiry of mine, which lead of mine. Because then you are able to create that and store it, which means As a part of my digital transformation team,
Mhm.
I also have a content developer and I also have digital marketing team members in my team. And all of this content is going to be prepared in the background. When the admission season is off, this is a time where we take the analytics of all the leads, all the courses, and we start preparing the communication that a particular institution needs to have. Why? Because this communication is where we are going to use it in the back end for our next admission cycle, and that's where today we can look at an enhanced two-way communication, because this is ready. We know what the inquiry has asked last time. We take an analytics of all of that, build a beautiful structure for the coming year, and that is where today for drip marketing,
Yeah.
you need to very clearly mention when and what it has to be used. Now, second, I send a communication today to a student on the WhatsApp. That communication today is a two-way communication.
Right.
As you rightly said, it starts with a two-way communication. When the student responds, today I send a camping, say a particular camping of an MBA course, say to about 10,000 leads of mine. Now, there are going to be some in that who are going to respond to you immediately. And that's where the bigger task for the counselor starts.
Correct.
Because if that particular lead is addressed to a counselor, and in the WhatsApp reply, the student says, I need more details.
Correct.
Immediately the counselor gets it. So one, you're able to see the camping outcomes.
Yeah.
From a marketing head perspective. But two, as a counselor, the moment these 10,000 things are released through my drip marketing channel via WhatsApp, and if there is somebody who says, I need more information, you can gauge the outcomes of that.
Absolutely.
And this is where we say that the two-way communication is going to give immediate outcomes to you, at least for some cases who have triggered because of it's like nudging somebody. And somebody says, okay, I had this question, and you say, here's the answer to it. And that's how fruitful it becomes. One, the CRM integration because of this, and two, the WhatsApp channel. It increases the communication at the right time.
Yeah.
Second, it also makes sure that the both the parties. I have the counselor on one side, I have the lead on the other side. When they start communicating, that's where things today happen at a very, very fast mode in this.
Correct. That's where the magic happens. Yeah.
That's where the magic happens.
Yeah. We're also seeing a lot of prevalence of what is called language learning models, right? For instance, Gen AI, we are also seeing that increasingly students and parents are, they talk to a bot as though it is a human being, right?
Correct.
They start by asking, hey, so I am interested in learning, I want to study medicine and I want to go to whatever, right, Caribbean or somewhere, and then I want to understand how much does it cost. So the question is framed in their mind, and then they start with that, right? So we are investing heavily behind understanding how to empower education institutions to answer such questions.
Correct.
And therefore, it is no longer a bot like a rule-based engine, but it is more like a I'd say LLM based, right? It's a lot of AI based ways in which, therefore, the ability to be, to pretend or to behave like a real person has become really significantly improved today, right? And with every passing day, those developments, the progress is being rapidly being made as well, right? So I think we are also seeing a lot of successful customer stories that we see where they use both a CRM as well as a WhatsApp solution. And like you said, there is a limited shelf life for a lead as soon as it comes in, right?
Absolutely.
And people leave no stone unturned to go fetch a lead, to find a lead, right?
Absolutely.
And from there to move it down to a deal, I think the CRM plus WhatsApp are playing a very pivotal role, right?
Correct. In fact, while we look at this and we start moving further, we talk about the strategies for building WhatsApp engagement engine.
Right.
I have a question to you, which has come from one of the participants. What are some of the best practices you have observed for personalizing messages through WhatsApp to maximize impact on student engagement and enrollment?
Right. So I think that's a great question, because what it offers is an opportunity to really do as much as your imagination can allow you, right? Because see, there is a certain some amount of information that we anyway acquire when we acquiring a customer base, right? So we know some information, things like where do they stay, what are they looking to study, what could be their background, and therefore some set of questions that we already know. Now the most successful campaigns that we've seen are where a segmentation is done smartly, right? So instead of having a one size fits all, right, what this offers, because if you were to look at SMS and email and so on, where you just have 10,000 people and just need to do a blast, you don't know how many got it, how many opened it, but more importantly, you can't control which message should go to who, right? And that requires significant level of expertise to be able to do that through email marketing tools and so on. All that has been simplified. Okay, now it's anybody can just create segments based on the variable information that we have collected, and based on that a personalized, or at least closer to personalized, messaging can happen. That is number one. Secondly, as soon as a response comes in, right, let's say I run a campaign to 50,000 people, and then I receive some response, obviously from many of them. Based on the response, you can set a rule engine that says, if this response has happened, the bot can answer in this way. So again, it becomes a little more personalized. Now again, it's really personalized because then I know your name, I know what you're looking for, right? I know, whatever you have said so far. So I can start the conversation by saying, "Dear Srinivas," right? And then I can respond to you, and then ask further set of questions. So having answered this question, so further, are you looking at ABC? And then it just kind of gets sharpened, right? It just keeps coming down and down. So now there's some level of creativity that is required, right? I mean, same creativity as you would employ when you're talking to a prospect, right? In the real offline world, the same creativity is required. But today,
Correct.
the tools are available, right? As in the past, such tools were available, or they were affordable only by some very large companies, right? Whereas today, such tools are available within the reach of many people. So which means what that was affordable to a few is now being made available to many. So you can gain access to this technology and tools and be able to do all this in just a few minutes, right? And on top of that, we have case studies. We are constantly sharing knowledge and information about how people successfully have been using these tools and technologies. Yeah.
Very true. Very, very, rightly said. That's a
Actually,
good
this
point.
as part of this, really, one of the things that happens is we are living in an era today, Srinivas, of too much data. Okay, because everything that you touch on a screen is a data, right? Uh, Everything that you do is a data point, right? So really, one question that I had is, with so much of data that's available, let's say that is analytics. So how can education institutions utilize these analytics really to understand engagement metrics, analyze trends, right? And really be able to turn data to, danda. So data is sitting there, but then you need danda out of that, right? So what is your view on how can that be done?
For data to danda means generally a counselor have to be really ready for that danda. That's how, because that's why I said, once
Yeah,
you really groom your counselors to understand the
right.
importance of lead, the day the institution understands this, I think at least they're on the first step.
Super.
Now, while we talk about this, I'll quickly share some thoughts over here.
Perfect.
The very first thing that some institution needs to do is to optimize your WhatsApp business profile.
Right.
Very, very important. Complete the picture, fill out your profile entirely, including a clear picture, the address, the website, the emails, and of course, quick and informative setup, quick replies to answer to the common questions instantly.
Mhm.
So this is how we actually talk about to optimize your profile. That is the first step. The highly optimized one, and with all the latest information, gives a very good feeling today to the end user who's seeing it. So it's like a visiting card.
Right.
Nowadays people really have fancy visiting cards. They have a QR code and everything available on their visiting cards. So is the thing here. The moment somebody sees this, he should feel that, I can see something latest happening in this institution.
Correct.
So a lot of personalization that can go over this, but the impression that people will carry is something which is very, very important over here. Then, of course, we talk about leveraging the power. Now, I have created a good profile. Everything is up to date. Second is leveraging the power of WhatsApp Business API. Very, very important. So, one is automate messages, send welcome messages. You have your application reminders and follow-ups to keep your leads engaged, because engagement is the key here. The more you keep them engaged, it is very, very important. So, automated messages and, of course, welcome messages in the best manner it can come. The next portion about it is then utilizing chatbots, handle initial inquiries, collect information, and guide applicants through the next steps.
Yeah.
So if you have a guide available, they really enjoy it. They know what it is. Many people today sometimes are not able to share what kind of fear they have. They fear when they're talking to counselors or when they're interacting with institutions. So here, of course, when you're able to put that in options, student feels comfortable to choose it. So the best intelligent way, if you're able to put it across, you get answers. Next, integrate with your CRM and then track leads, interactions. The entire lead interactions can be tracked. You asked me a question about how education institutions can use analytics. It is where the start of the analytics comes. Integrate your CRM and track the lead interactions and then manage the follow-ups efficiently.
Right.
You know what stage, what is going to happen. Accordingly, you can key in the certain things and make sure that the follow-up is today absolutely to the point.
Right.
Then, of course, very, very important, personalized communication. Generally, two leads will not have the same kind of an attitude. They'll have a different way of behavior. Now, somebody has to really monitor that, see that, and then create certain things so that the counselor is able to effectively use those kind of personalized communication. That's why I said we need to have a content developer available in-house. The content developer is basically going to create these messages based on what we see as the pattern or the behavior of this particular inquiry. So quality leads early on, use quick questions to understand their needs and how your program aligns to their goals. Whatever could be your program, whatever could be your service. If you're using a CRM, if you're using a WhatsApp, the objective is under personalized communication, look at quick questions to understand the needs and how the program aligns to their goals.
Right.
Second, segment the leads based on interest and their behavior.
Correct.
Craft personalized messages tailored to their specific needs. And then address leads by name, build rapport, and create a welcoming atmosphere. I call this as a feel-good atmosphere, feel-good factor. A student should enjoy his journey while chatting. He should be motivated to ask more. The counselor should also be motivated to share more. And this is where the engagement goes to an extent where the inquiry is at the end saying that, yeah, this is the place where I found the information.
Right.
One, very quick. Two, personalize. It met the requirements that I have. So he will be able to take his decisions faster.
Right.
Next comes is the engage with rich media and interactive content. Now this is here where the creativity of the institution comes. Everybody is using WhatsApp, which is a different story. But if I have a creative team available in-house now, I can engage with the rich media and interactive content because here the person is online with me, is as good as an inquiry sitting in front of me. Look at the traditional way. You used to have a computer in front of the counselor. They used to show some demos and all of that stuff. We used to tell them to show demos, videos. Why? Because it's a hot inquiry. He's come into your place and he's watching certain things which is very effective. Why are we showing them videos at that point of time or any PowerPoint presentation at that point of time? Because he's currently connected to you. Now look at the same thing here. The lead has come in, though he is not come into your institution, but he's currently online with you. It's as good as getting a walk-in today.
Right.
As good as getting a walk-in. Now, which means I have to have my best impression put forward.
Right.
That's where we talk about engage with rich media and interactive content, where showcase the offerings, use video images, voice notes to capture attention and explain your program in a captivating way. That is where the effect is going to be fantastic. Interactive elements, incorporate buttons and quick replies to make it easy for the leads to take actions. It
Excellent.
cannot be a one-way channel. You rightly said it has to be a two-way, but in two-way also today, while we send it, you can have a video content on top, you can have a message on top, you can have a message below, then you can have the buttons interested, not interested, or I may be interested, require more information. Let them click that. The moment they click that, the response comes to you. Response comes to you, you know this person is slightly more in terms of hot compared to my other leads, which means I need to take better actions.
Right.
So this is what we call it as another way of analytics. Because I am engaging, I have to taper it down towards closure. For taper it down towards closure, in our traditional the inquiry activity, you used to put closing statements. I still remember during some of the counselors training program, we used to tell them to use one of the questions: would you like to pay by cash or check? So the answer is either one of them, or it says no, I have a doubt. Okay, you have a doubt. Okay, let's answer it. After that again, would you like to pay it today, or you would like to pay it right now? So now, to get this is entirely thing today put in your two-way communication.
Correct.
So either I'm interested or I want to know more. If I'm interested, I'll click more. If I want to know more means I still have my queries more.
Yeah.
So that's what today is happening on the digital side. So that's what we call it as another way of today, which we can look at the analytics. Second, inform and educate. Simplify the process, share FAQs and application process, guides to equip the lead with the knowledge they need. And of course, events and webinars. This is a very, very one of the best things that I have seen today an institution using. In fact, when we were supporting one of the universities during COVID, we did about 90 webinars in about 4 months. 90 webinars. That institution had 56 courses. And every webinar, the vice chancellor was available for the welcome notes.
Wow.
Now, promoting that webinar was one of the key importance for that institution.
Right.
And during that webinar, a questionnaire or a quiz thing running, and the kind of people coming in for that webinar, when the inquiry started seeing it, the parents started seeing it, they understood what background that institution is today.
Yeah.
Believe me, the amount of leads that is to come into the system post a webinar from that institution was something that the institution gave a big thumbs up. So events and webinars generate excitement by promoting upcoming. So, probably an institution can do this. Whatever you are doing today, webinars, or we also call it as campus info sessions. Even if there are 2 students attending that particular webinar, do it. But then an automated process like this allows you to ensure that, one, before the webinar, the registrations are manned. While the registrations comes in, you have auto messages going to them. Then the joining link is sent to them automatically. 30 minutes before there is a nudge, 10 minutes before there is a nudge, 1 minute before it says join now. Then the person joins, he finishes it up. When he finishes the webinar out, he can give his feedback. So much of engagement today is possible on this particular channel.
Yes.
And that is where we would want the institutions to come forward.
Yeah.
Second, you may have a last minute offer for them.
Correct.
Something that has just come out, you must have seen there are 10 inquiries now, or you have 10 seats left, or you have 3 seats left, you want to fill it up today. Right. Either you call them up, calling generally people may like, may not like.
Correct.
So, offers. You have last minute offers, promote special offers and last minute deals to encourage prompt applications. By this, you will come to know how your segment is interacting with you.
Correct. Which is the equivalent.
Very, very.
Pay in cash or check. You want to pay today or right now?
Now, some institutions have a pedigree. They have very good alumni. But when do I talk about these alumni stories? During my counseling session, nobody talks. So one good thing that an institution of repute can do is build up their stories of the alumni and keep it in your repository of documents that you have to send.
Yeah, I think Srinivas, just sorry to interrupt you. There is only so much you can do in a physical counseling session, right? Because the attention span is only 20 minutes or 30 minutes or less than that. And secondly, once the physical counseling session is done, after that the person has gone out of the office. You can't, very difficult to reach them, or you have to call them and bother them. And after that, the counselor becomes, a problem, a bother, right? Whereas here, what you're saying is interesting, right? Over a period of time, you can do different touch points that day, next day, that week, next week, over a couple of weeks or a couple of months also. You can keep on touching this particular without irritating them, right? And in a way in which at any point of time the prospect can convert with just one little nudge to the next level,
Absolutely.
because we cannot
Absolutely.
expect that somebody will be a prospect and tomorrow they'll be an admission. There is a gap, you have to cross some steps, right? So this what you're saying is very, very beautiful, right? That this is a very great cheat sheet to take a lead to a deal, to take a prospect to admission. Very nice, very nice. Yeah.
So you have some steps between your lead to application.
Yeah.
An application is like 50% job done.
Correct.
Because the person pays for the application.
Correct.
But they pay to multiple institutions.
Mm.
Now I have to finalize the institution.
Correct.
At that point of time, an intelligent admission manager is going to create those pockets where the actual impression is now going to fit. And one of them is actually showcasing your stories. You may have your campus success stories, you may have your alumni success stories.
Yeah.
You may have done something great in that institution.
Correct.
Which you want to showcase in terms of small reels.
Yeah.
Nowadays, reels are very popular.
Yes.
I can have those reels incorporated into my WhatsApp along with some beautiful catchy lines.
Yes.
And that is what we call it as showcase success stories, where you share your alumni success story, showcase in terms of their testimonials. So these inspire. This is like a follow-up. In my traditional way, I call it as follow-up, but this is a very highly effective follow-up.
Truly.
It goes and lies into the WhatsApp. He will open it up at his convenience, but when he sees a video talking about the institution success stories, it creates an impact.
Correct.
Nowadays, even IPL has got impact players, right?
Yeah.
This is your impact player over here. When
Correct.
we talk about success stories, and these success stories have an everlasting nudge onto your lead today. Second, make your application process user friendly. If it is very nice, the flow is good, everything is fast, he enjoys it. Now, he also goes and tells his friends, which is very, very important over here, that the application process over here was very user friendly. So you have to think twice when you make an application process onto your WhatsApp. It has to be very, very smooth effect. And you have to make sure that everything is, you have to think as an inquiry lead. You should play around with that to make sure that the journey is exciting. So first of all, offer guide, assistance, provide step-by-step instruction for completing the application.
Yeah.
They like it because not every student is very effective in terms of replying.
Yeah.
So you need to do that step by step. So they enjoy it.
Right.
Next, ensure that it is mobile friendly. All your forms are mobile friendly. Make them easy to complete on the device. So this is what today we can look forward to as an institution through your WhatsApp channel, making the application journey very, very smooth.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
And then, of course, we talk about proactive follow-ups to build trust. So respond quickly to inquiries and maintain consistent communications. Implement an automated follow-up schedule. You talked about drip marketing. This is also a pattern of drip marketing.
True.
In terms of follow-ups.
True.
Implement an automated follow-up schedule. Remind leads about incomplete application and deadlines. I'm sure if somebody is using the CRM effectively, you have different lead stage. Somebody opened, did not fill. Somebody opened, filled 20%. Somebody opened, filled up, went to payment stage, didn't fill payment.
Hmm.
Somebody went to payment, did payment, but was not successful, came out, but is still there quiet. All of these stages today, a counselor can see. Now, somebody is stuck on stage one, you should have a medicine for it. Somebody is stuck on stage two, stage three, stage four,
Yeah.
we should have a medicine for it. That medicine is what we call it as proactive follow-ups.
Correct. Actually, what it's one more thing that it says, to allude to your point, with all the available tools and technology today at our disposal, a counselor can do her job.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, the counselor was trying to do A and B and C and also do counseling, right?
Correct.
So today she can do a lot more with her time, right, and be far more effective, right, than in the past, right? Sometimes it's also a problem both ways. Somebody will come and wait there. I think it's a yeah. I think what you're saying is
So as you talked about analytics, so here is the answer to it. Analyze
Yeah.
and optimize for success.
right.
Basically, utilize WhatsApp analytics to track messages, the open rates, the response time, the actions taken, and the conversion rates. Second, you can test different messages, medias, and strategies to see what resonates best with your leads. So that is the trend that you can carry. So if something has worked good for 10 leads, try and push it for more. Something that has not worked for some leads, remove it and replace it. This is a part of the analytics. Second, you can also gather feedback on the application process and continuously improve the experience. So this is what I had basically to talk about analytics. Sorry, I have to take a couple of slides to talk about it.
I think
So while we are doing this, Karthik, I have another question for you.
Go ahead, please.
People talk about examples over here. So can you share some real world examples or case studies showcasing institutions that have successfully implemented these strategies and achieved positive enrollment outcomes?
Absolutely. So I'll just pull my slide out. There are a couple of slides that I want to talk about.
Sure.
Yeah. So actually, this is this is one of our early customers who have been using Galla Box and WhatsApp specifically, very very useful. So this is Go Ireland or Go Studies. In fact, they do overseas education for a lot of countries. In fact, they've grown tremendously. We have seen them grow in about 2 years from about 50 member organization to about 200 member organization, right? They have moved to a larger office. They've taken multiple floors. And so effectively, one of the biggest problems really was, people would come for different types of courses, different countries, whereas they were able to kind of match make the right counselor. So there used to be absolute confusion. It used to be done manually, phone calls and so on. So I think the efficient management of counselor time is a big win for them, because that was a very painful problem that they were going through, right? But actually, what really the other thing that they have been very successfully achieving is, now earlier what used to happen is the WhatsApp used to be person to person. So which means the rest of the team didn't know what the conversation was going about, right? But now with the shared team inbox, with absolutely great collaboration that is happening between the agents, counselors, salespeople, right? And effectively also the ones who are organizing backend, the operations people, right? Everybody is aware of what the student requirement is or the parent requirement is, and there was information is being shared promptly, information is being, questions are being answered promptly. So the overall customer experience has just gone up tremendously. Today the customers of this particular institution, they feel like they're talking to some foreign company, right? To some very sophisticated, like a large, very sophisticated company, enterprise. So that's the kind of customer experience that they've been able to offer, right? So I mean, I have met with Mr. Ilya Bharati, who's the founder CEO. He says, so the demand for overseas education is very high. Okay, every day we get a lot of leads. What you do with the lead is effectively the most important thing, right? How do we move the lead to the next stage and finding its way to the counselor and then finding its way downwards is, I think this is one example. The other example would be, TC Global, where they are also another overseas education consultants, right? So similarly, they were able to access different levels of employees to manage these conversations, and they've been able to put together all the customer data using the. In fact, interestingly, they use Lead Squared as well, right? So this is one of those success stories where the Galabox and Lead Squared comes together, and they've been able to use a conversation platform with a CRM very, very effectively. So I think these are some of the common examples that I would talk about. I think Vaishnavi is going to tell me that my time is up.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Karthik and Srinivas. I think there's so much to share, but so less time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think we can have another session soon where
Yes.
people can get more insights.
Yes.
I think this case study for TC Global perfectly answers Mahesh's question, which is about how he's an overseas education counselor and how Galabox and Lead Squared can help them manage leads. And if you want to know more, please take a demo with us. I think it'll be, you'll understand exactly how we can help you. Um, b- so before we end the session, we have like a few questions that we can take up. The first one is from Derek, who's asking, I think this is what you, Srinivas, giving last minute offers, can this backfire as well? People might be following the event for a long time and they might see that we give last minute offers and then they probably always wait for the end. Would
No,
like your
last
views
minute
on this.
offers. Yeah, thank you so much for the call. Last minute offer doesn't every time mean discounts. Say, for example, I really have only 2 seats available now. What do I
Yeah.
do? I cannot wait for somebody to call me and then I say I have 2 seats. Can
Yeah.
I be proactive and say, hey, last 2 seats remaining, first come first, call in and do it? So, last minute offer is for something that you want as an immediate thing to reach out to people. Reach out to people who are already in your loop. They're already in your basket. You have 10 of them, but you have 2 seats available, or you have something like, you have a situation where you have to communicate immediately. This is where we talk about last minute offers. Now, an institution of repute may not have discounts, but there are institutions today who want to offer a discount for maybe the last minute. So, depending upon the type of institutions, depending upon the type of offer, depending upon the situation, we have seen many institutions who want to use this as a feature. The counselor wants to close. Today is month end. Generally people month end means there's a enormous pressure on the counselor.
Yeah.
She can go and actually strike a deal with the management saying, I can get 5 admissions today, but this is what I want to give them as an offer. I said, okay, go ahead. Now, how does she communicate this?
Yeah.
So this is where today last minute offers can be used by institutions where, depending on situation, your message can be put across in a two-way communication. Interested? Yes, I'm interested person. And you know what to do next by the counselors.
Thank you so much, Srinivas. I think we've taken up all the other questions. Nihal answered them on the questions tab. If we missed anything, we will get back to you over email or WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Um, thank you so much.
WhatsApp or
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Once
Thank you so
again,
much for the
yeah.
opportunity. And
Thank you so
thanks,
much,
Karthik.
Karthik.
Enjoy
Yeah,
talking
thank you
to
very
you.
much. It was wonderful chatting with you, Srinivas.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
orchestrating this, Vaishnavi, and thanks really to all the people who attended this and who are patiently, staying with us. Happy to engage with any of you, all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye
See you.
bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Please take
Bye.
care and have a nice day. See you at the next session.